We will move on to communication. This is the portion of the meeting where you, the residents of Fairfield City School District, are invited to share your thoughts with the board. Please know that this time has been set aside for the board to listen to you. Your comments are valued and will be taken into careful consideration. The board will not engage in dialogue at this time. Presentations are limited to 5 minutes. Mr. Penny will be our timekeeper. We have one person that signed up this evening, and it is Lisa Sims. You would like her to speak instead of you?
She just didn't, no. I didn't get it. I was in here to sign the paper.
Well, Ms. Sims, you'd like to come up and take your time? And please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Lisa Sims. I'm in the township. Is it?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. I've been a resident of the Fairfield City School District for nearly 30 years. My son is 35. He graduated from Fairfield High School. He attended for 11 years. Then there was a gap, and now I have a daughter who, she's in her 7th year at East Elementary. I guess I'm just kind of concerned. I'm curious about the credentials required for the EAs at the schools. There's a situation that I'm concerned about. I won't go into it, excuse me. But just wondering if there's a direct connection maybe between the credentials that are required for the EAs and how I'm being treated, there at that school. So I just wanted to say that. And then when my son was at the high school, there was a diversity, I don't know if it was a committee, so I was part of that years ago. And just, I'd like to be involved with that. There was some, just a second, sorry about that. One of the concerns was like the percentage of African American administrators and teachers in the school district. Now, I have not been away from the high school for a very long time, so I don't know what the numbers are. I know that there's not one African American teacher at East, and that is another concern that I have for maybe how I'm being treated there. I think, I don't want to be difficult, but, I think that all people need to see African-American people in different positions, not just African-American children, but I think all children need to see, and even, like, I could be I used to teach high school. I could be a free person over there, and I've not been well received. It's been terrible. So, I see the look on the face, they like seeing, the brown face over there. I don't mean to sound like, like I don't want to focus on like a racial issue, but I'm just wondering, I know it's important for all of the kids to see it. When my daughter was in her second year, her second grade 2, I was able to spend a whole lot of time there, ate lunch with the kids and everything, and it was just a really nice situation. I enjoyed it. So that's it. I just, I don't know if that was about all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you very much for your comments, and someone will follow up with you, Mrs. Sims.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Mrs. Hogan, would you like a few minutes? And please state your name and address so I can jot that down here.
Wanda Hogan. I had a couple incidents happen with me, my family, my children. First of all, my niece was in the incident with Craig Harden, the counselor that is now incarcerated. And when I found out that my niece was involved in this, first I contact Butler Tech because that's where she is going now. But the incident happened when she was in Fairfield, and it continued to happen when she was in Butler Tech. So I did tell the officer at Butler Tech, and her response was that he was already incarcerated. So my niece got in, she got in some trouble at Butler Tech with some drugs that she didn't have anything to do with, and they investigated it, and during the investigation, she was suspended from school. And they did a manifestation meeting, and Fairfield was involved in it. And I told Fairfield at the time, well, I told everybody in the meeting at the time that my niece was involved with this man, and briefly told them what happened. So the therapist at the time from Fairfield, she said that she was going to get on it. She was going to let the authorities know. And I said, okay. So I waited and I waited, and I never heard from the authorities. So I went to Fairfield Township Police Department, and they said that they hadn't had any indication that there was anything wrong. So the last meeting, I talked to Mr. Smith, and you were back there too, but I don't even know if you knew what was going on. I talked to Mr. Smith about it, and he said that he had contacted the police. Well, I went back to the police department, and they said no. So they kept investigating, and finally they did find a complaint that Mr. Smith had brought to the to the police department. And Mr. Smith had never contacted Children's Services. My niece is 17. This individual that's incarcerated was an adult male, and he was one of your school counselors. In his note, I do have it in my car, that Mr. Smith wrote. He never, ever said that my niece was a victim, which she was. He said that she was a bystander, and she was there with the young lady that had been molested. The bottom line is that it was never reported to Children's Services, and he took it to the wrong police department. It should have went to Fairfield. He brought it to the township, which they said they don't know why. I have a problem with that. I am now seeking legal advice about that. My second thing is that my kids go to preschool. I adopted altogether 12 children. I have 5 that graduated from Fairfield. My kids in preschool, one was very wrongly treated, and I walked in on a teacher mistreating my child. And they didn't remove her from the school, but they did remove her from the classroom. And then I guess there was so much grief, she quit, and she came back this year, and they put her back with the preschoolers. I'm very upset about that. And another thing is that in the mornings is the majority of the black children, and in the evening, the second semester is majority white. My son and another black child are the only 2. I confronted the principal, and I asked her why was that. I asked Mr. Smith. They told me it was because busing. I said, busing? I said, I see all the buses at Chick-fil-A and McDonald's, and why is there a bus problem? And I just feel like it's segregation again, and I feel that it's happening in the Fairfield School District. And I think that something should be done about it. I've called the news media, and I asked them to come out and investigate that. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Okay,